Welcome back to the channel. This is Freddy Storm and you are watching What If Sakura Travel Back in Time with Kyubi. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share and subscribe to this channel. Now wasting no more time, let's start the story.
Sakura opened her eyes and stretched, yawning, looking around. She realized she was in her room, or more accurately, her room from many years ago. She blinks a couple of times until she remembers what happened. Rewind. Sakura gazed down at the figure of a blonde man with facial whiskers who had been beaten and bruised. Her one-time crush's body lay on the ground a few feet away, his skull shattered, and there was blood all over the place after the last battle with Atatsuki. Atatsuki had devised a scheme to kidnap Naruto and had lured him in with Sasuke as bait when they entered the trap. A team that was intended to return Sasuke to Konoha was attempting to apprehend and bring him back. The blonde put up the most effort and prevailed in the fight. After Sasuke was released from prison, he was left to watch the fight helplessly as Naruto killed his brother. Everyone was exhausted and hurt, but they all smiled when Sasuke approached Naruto's exhausted form. To everyone's horror, he stabbed Naruto in the heart and said, "You took away my life, now I took away yours." He then began to laugh uncontrollably. Sakura is furious because she remembers Naruto doing everything for her, his unwavering love for her, and her repeated declarations that she loved Sasuke. She was finally broken by the last memory of her and Naruto together before the battle, when he had vowed to bring back the man she loved. Even if it meant losing his life, she used all of her chakra to unleash two punches. Sasuke's skull and brain were totally shattered, by one in the stomach and another in the back of the head. Everyone tensed as the Kyuubi's form emerged from Naruto's motionless body, shrouded in a red shroud. Glancing around, he declared, "Foolish mortals, I would have killed you all had I not promised the kid not to. You are not worthy of him." After glancing around at everyone, he noticed the bodies of Sasuke and Sakura, who was still furious. He grinned at her and said, "I have plans for..." Then, all of his chakra surrounded Sakura, causing her to scream as pain filled her. Finish the flashback. Sakura recalls the agony, but she thought she was going to die, that is, until a voice said, "Foolish mortal." For a brief moment, Sakura was terrified and wide-eyed before everything went dark. She saw Kyuubi sitting in a throne and her inner Sakura in a cage next to his throne. When she opened her eyes, he glanced at Sakura as well as the one in the cage replied, "Hello, I can assure you what you saw was no illusion. You were in the past. I have brought you here and have had my fun with the Uchiha whore here, so she won't bother you again. Now I am sure why you are here and how I am in you. Right, the answer is simple. My body was destroyed when the kid's dad sealed me. Without a body I would die soon anyways, so I used your body as my own." Sakura asked, "What do you want of me?" in a terrified and perplexed state. Kyuubi laughed as he said, "You are the catalyst in the kid's life, since you wanted the Uchiha so bad and at the end killed him because you realized what you really wanted. I am giving you the chance at another life. Today is the day of team assignments. You are to correct your mistakes." After standing for a while, Sakura questioned, "Why are you doing this?" Before the fox started to shrink and take shape, Kyuubi gave Sakura a brief glance. Sakura then blinked and uttered, "You have got to be shitting me." Kyuubi grinned and said, "This is my true self. As you can see, not everything is as it appears now. As you asked why I am doing this, the boy impressed me. I was so impressed that if he ever got over you, I was going to ask him to be my mate." Her voice was now female and came from a woman who resembled an older Sakura but had red hair and eyes. For some reason, Sakura became very envious and remarked, "That won't happen." With a sigh, Kyuubi kicked the cage that rolled like a dog travel cage, rolled down a few stairs, and stopped at Sakura's feet. "I know the truth is I am powerless now. I used all my energy to bring you here, so all I am now is what this bitch would have been." An annoying voice in your head. As Kyuubi ran and punched the cage, sending it into the horizon like a team rocket blasting off again, the girl in the cage said, "Let me out. Sasuke can help me. You prove your love for me by killing Naruto. Take me away." When the star flashed away from the cage, Sakura actually smiled as she watched the bling noise. Kyuubi replied, "Now where were we? Oh yes, so what will you do now? You have a fresh start to change things. Oh, and if it makes it easier, just call me Inner Sakura now, since the only way she ever will come back is if I let her." As she returned to her throne, Sakura asked, glancing at Kyuubi, "What can I do?" Kyuubi appeared to be getting irate and replied, "Think about it, you idiot. You have knowledge of the future, you know future skills, though you will have to train to get your body back. You have a 1,000-year-old demon who spent 17 years in the body of a boy and knows how he thinks, and also you have your own damn IQ. What you can do is get you ass up, get dressed, and show the boy who you realized after he died that you love. He just learned about the Kyuubi being in him last night, so he is scared. You can't tell anyone about me or that you're from the future. Your body is that of your younger self, so think what to say and do on your way to school." And she went insane. Sakura said, blinking, "Bitch," Inner replied, "I heard that and I am a vixen. not a bitch, and I may not have chakra or able to do much more than annoy you ass. Sakura let out a sigh and began preparing for the day, but she raised an eyebrow and inquired, why am I more developed? While taking a shower. Ina replied, I may not be able to give you more chakra or enhanced senses or stuff like that, but I can mess with you mind enough to make your hormones go crazy, so I thought that you would like to rub it into the face of the blonde Uchiha whore that you have bigger tits than her. By the way, just think what you want me to hear so people don't think you're crazy. Blinking, Sakura considered, this could be good. Sakura had to smile when she put on her bra after getting ready because she didn't have to stuff it. She then scowled as she noticed her long hair in the wall mirror. She pulled out a kuniya and began to style it to resemble the way she would wear it in the future. Once she was satisfied with the way it looked, she completed getting ready. Her mother gasped as she descended the stairs, and Sakura said, I decided that I need to stop chasing Sasuke, he's not worth it. She then ignored her mother's wide-eyed expression and left the room. As Sakura entered the academy, she noticed some of the individuals who had failed the second test and grinned, thinking, better luck next time. She noticed Naruto sitting next to Sasuke as soon as she entered, and she smiled at the adorable expression he had on his face, the one he would wear when he saw something genuinely lovely. Sakura approached him, took his jacket, pulled him from the chair, and threw him into a back seat. She then sat down next to him and remarked, your mask slipped. After a moment of widening, Naruto's eyes narrowed and he said, and. As she watches him out of the corner of her eye, Sakura grinned and said, in a voice that was just loud enough for him to hear, you might get a date if you let it slip some more and show how good you really are. Not everyone judges you. Naruto's eyes almost burst from his head before contracting as he questioned, so you know? Yeah, I know what your dad did, Sakura replied. With his eyes popping out of his head, Naruto imitated a Hinata and said, DDDAADDD. He was my dad. His voice was shocked and almost scared. Sakura was perplexed before recalling that he wasn't informed that he was the Yondaime son until he was 16. She sighed and replied, yes, at least I believe he was. You look just like him minus the whiskers. It makes sense that way if you think about it. After letting out a sigh, Naruto considered what she had said and realized that, while she was speculating, she might be correct. While Naruto was thinking, Ino interrupted him by running into the classroom and yelling, yeah, I'm first, take that, you flat-chested forehead girl. Sakura yelled from the back of the class, Ino, sit down, shut up and be a good girl and you might one day have breast like me. Everyone was staring at Ino. Sakura's new appearance caught Ino's attention when she looked up, but she dismissed it with a remark, what breast? Everyone knows that you stuff your bra. Sakura said, really Ino, if you think my breasts are stuffed, prove it, but if mine are real you have to pester Shikamaru until he agrees to go on a date with you. She was mentally noting this so she could thank her new inner later. White as a ghost, Shikamaru rose from his desk and said, it's troublesome, but please don't make this bet Ino. Ino responded, okay, I will, and I will embarrass you all at the same time, proving I am better than you and that Sasuke is mine, to Naruto, who was too scared to speak. Sakura remarked, fine, you can have him either way as far as I'm concerned, but if you think you can embarrass me then try it, as the entire class watched the drama. Everyone in the class, including Ino, was in a state of shock next to Ino. Sakura was Sasuke's most loyal fangirl, and she expressed her disinterest in him to check if the four horsemen were passing through the village. Everyone peered out the window. Considering that it must be a ruse, Ino said, deal, if your breasts are real, prove it by showing, as she surveyed the class before grinning at her plan to persuade Sakura to concede, Naruto. Everyone thought Sakura would give in, however, they did not anticipate what transpired. Sakura shrugged her shoulders, grinned, and leaned over to kiss Naruto. She also grabbed both of his hands, placed one on each of her breasts, moved them around, and groaned as she felt her breasts get stiff from his rubbing. For his part, Naruto was in heaven. In all honesty, he could pass away contented. Because she had hooked herself up to feel, hear, and see what Sakura saw. Kyubi inside Sakura grinned and began to feel the treatment, in case you're wondering what inner is. Sakura withdrew, feeling as though her world had suddenly exploded and her entire body was on fire. She was kicking herself even harder for ignoring Naruto going forward because she had never felt anything like that in her life. Sakura glanced around the classroom and saw that Sasuke, who pretended not to care, was the only person who was not either wide-eyed or faint from blood loss. Naruto opened his eyes gradually and opened his mouth to speak, but nothing came out. For her part, Ino was unable to speak. With a groan, Shikamaru rose from the ground and inquired, so when do I pick you up, Ino? Ino muttered, 7 tonight, because he wasn't sure what to say. 3 perverts were unconscious on the floor of the Hokage Tower, and a red-eyed woman was moving her mouth like a fish as she tried to understand what the devil had happened to that girl. When Iruka entered, Naruto's mouth was still moving. He noticed that all of the children, with the exception of 3, had tissues up their noses, but he remained silent out of concern that someone had brought another copy of Icha Paradise into the school. "Okay, class team," he said after clearing his throat. Immediately following the departure of teams 8 and 10, fast forward. Sakura said, "Okay, Naruto-kun, let's train now that everyone else has left," as she glanced at the clock. Naruto said, "Sure, what do you want to do?" as he continued to stare at her in mild shock. Sakura gave a grin and stated, "Chakra control. The more control you have, the more jutsu and the more powerful they get." Excited, Naruto exclaimed, "Okay, how do we do it?" Within replied, "Tell him to use his Kage Bunshin after you tell him how to do it, that way he gets it done faster. You know how they pass on their knowledge." Sakura was already aware of this and replied, "Okay, what you do is channel chakra to your feet and try to walk up the wall or tree too much and you blast off. Not enough you fall down. You know Kage Bunshin, right? In case you did not know it, anything it learns it passes on to you, so have them try it also so you get better, faster," Naruto said, nodding yes, though she was unsure how she knew. The third person in the Hokage office said, "Kakashi, ask her how she learned Kage Bunshin and see if she knows about it, and if so find out how something's wrong." They were all perplexed. Kakashi looks at the ball, nods, and observes as Sakura immediately gets the exercise but continues to go up and down, while Naruto falls after a few feet. "You want to know why I can do this and you can't yet, Naruto?" Sakura said with a smile. She said, "I have a small amount of chakra, but because of you having so much it's harder to control. You need to work on control while I need to work on stamina. It's strange how that works out to make us even, but that's the way it works." As Naruto continued to rub his head and nod in agreement. After the last clone fell and rose in smoke, Naruto tried it again and, to his surprise, managed to climb half the way up the wall before collapsing. The door opened at that moment, and Kakashi entered. He exclaimed, "My first impression of you is you suck. Meet me on the roof," before disappearing into smoke. Kakashi said, "Okay, let's introduce ourselves, names, likes, dislikes, hobbies, and to build teamwork secrets," as the 3 genins made their way to the roof. Sakura squinted, and Kakashi remarked, "You furt pinky. You show us how to do it, Sensei," Naruto remarked. Kakashi sighed and replied, "Sharingan Kakashi, Junin, student of the Yondiami, summons dog known for copying over 1,000 jutsu hobbies, reading Icha Paradise, dreams to be in an Icha Paradise movie." With wide eyes, Kakashi questioned, "How do you know all that?" Sakura smiles and says, "Anko and Kurenai talk about you and Asuma and Jia in the hot springs." The names. Sakura likes Naruto, dislikes those who hate him for being a hero, dreams, having a family someday, and plans for the future. She then punches a wall, breaking it into a million pieces, and says, "Become a medic nin like Tsunade." With wide eyes, everyone took note to avoid her punches. Naruto rushes over to pick up Sakura after she groans and falls to her knees, and Kakashi asks, "What happened?" As Naruto put her down, Sakura remarked, "The only problem with that technique is it uses up enough chakra. As a B-rank jutsu I need to work on my stamina." Stunned, Kakashi said, "Well, don't do it again until you get more." Sakura smiles and responds, "I will try, but I have been studying medical taijutsu and it's part of my routine." Kakashi nods to Naruto and says, "Naruto Uzumaki likes Sakuragan, dislike the idiots who think I am something I am not. Plans for the future: become the best Hokage ever and find out if I am related to the 4th or if I have some other family out there." Behind his mask, Kakashi scowls and gestures toward Sasuke, whom we already know. Naruto is still sitting there with Sakura, who has somewhat recovered after Kakashi left, and he asks, "Are you alright?" Sakura replied, "Yeah, like I said, not much chakra. Do you have some money?" With some reflection, Naruto uttered, "Yeah, some. Why?" Sakura replied, "I know a way to get our training done faster to make us stronger. I got my money on me, and if you have yours on you I can run and get us some weights at the supply store and meet you where we are supposed to take the test tomorrow in about an hour. That way we can try tree climbing with the weights and get better faster, since it's hard for you to get store to let you in. I will go get them. Deal?" At the end, Naruto frowns but sighs, nods, gives her the majority of his money, and then flees. Naruto heads to the training area and begins putting what she told him into practice. Sakura leaves Naruto, who knows it's a Tenten family store, and dashes to the Wolf Claw weapon shop. He enters, walks to the counter, and says, "Hey, I was wondering if you could help me. I was looking for some chakra wheats." Sakura is looked at by the girl behind the counter, who asks, "Why?" Sakura stated, I just graduated from the academy and I want to be a medic nin like Tsunade, so I need to get stronger, so me and my teammate are working on tree climbing and I thought weights would help also increase our speed and endurance. Sakura's goal is similar to Tenten's, so she smiles and says, sure, we got them. Let me show you where they're. Tenten then walks to the section where they are. Sakura points to 2 used sets and observes that they are about the only ones available. Tenten takes them and proceeds to the register, and Sakura asks, hey, do you know anything about the Rasengan of Naruto? Ina replied, I know everything the boy knew, so yeah, if you want him to do it he needs water walking down and then he needs a rubber ball and water balloons to learn it. When Sakura spots a deal on rubber balls and a bag of balloons in the kid-friendly section of the store, she grabs them and says, put these on the bill. Also, the balloons would make good moving targets with some ingenuity, and the rubber balls won't send us to the hospital if we miss dodging them. Sakura is getting along better with Tenten, who said, well, the weights are $200, but if you promise to return with your teammate, I will let you have the ball and balloons for free. Sakura replied, sure, though it will be a while. Bekwase, our sensei, is a lazy pervert, you probably know him, Kakashi. Tenten laughed and replied, yeah, I know him. Listen, if you and your teammate are serious about being good ninja, I could ask my sensei guy if you can join us to train in the mornings for a few hours before your team has to start. Then, after giving it some thought, Sakura said, sure, what time should we meet him and where if he approves? Training ground 13 at 5 a.m., Tenten stated. Sakura responded, since most sensei want to see the person instead of hear about them, why don't we stop by tomorrow morning, that way he can look at us and judge himself. That will work. See you tomorrow at 5, Tenten said. Sakura departed after saying, see you. After about 45 minutes at the training ground, Naruto was beginning to believe he had been ripped when he noticed Sakura sprinting in his direction. She was breathless when she arrived and exclaimed, I got the weights and I also got great news. Grinning, Naruto gestures for her to go on. Sakura stated, the girl at the weapons store invited us to meet her sensei tomorrow at 5 a.m. and if he likes us we can train with his team in the morning for a few hours before we have to meet here. That's great, I hope he lets us, Naruto said. Sakura replied, I am sure he will. Anyways, put these bands on your arms and legs like I am and channel chakra into them and you will see a number appear on them telling how much is on each try and make them even. I am starting with 10 on each arm and leg. I think you should start with 25 since you are stronger than me. Naruto nods and tries, but he gives the first one too much effort and the second one not enough. After scowling and pressing the release button to zero it out, Sakura directs her chakra into it and, with remarkable control, manages to obtain all of his at 25. She continued, don't take them off unless you're taking a shower. When you get used to them try and increase the weight, but don't put too much or you could hurt yourself. I say when you reach 125 on each stop for a while. Naruto nods, and he and Sakura continue their tree climbing exercises for the next few hours with Kage Bunshin's assistance with the weights on. Even Sakura's perfect control was achieved. She ended up being on par with him, in fact. They came to a halt at sunset, and Naruto led Sakura home. She thanked him but refrained from kissing him because her mother was staring out the window and she was unsure of her mother's feelings toward Naruto. Grinning, Naruto left, promising to meet her at the training ground where she had instructed him to meet. Sakura's mother was crossing her arms, tapping her foot, and asking, where have you been, young lady? When Sakura entered training, Sakura said. The mother of Sakura stated, I don't believe you. Ino came here today after she met her team and said that you were kissing that Naruto boy in class. Sakura replied, and did she tell you she wanted me to show Naruto my tits in class also, or the fact that she basically called me a loser? Yes, I kissed Naruto in class, but that was all there was to it. As for you believing me or not, it's the truth. I got weights on right now from where I am trying to get stronger, so on my first mission outside of the village I don't get raped by some merc or some missing nin. I know my teammate Naruto would do anything he could to save me, but our other teammates basically thinks we should go off and die, so he won't lift a finger to save my life. You remember those warning you gave me before I went to the academy? Now that I am taking them serious, you think I am lying. Sakura's mother was taken aback by her daughter's behavior and calmed down, saying, look dear, it's just. After saying, before you say anything else, I want to show you something. I will be right back. Sakura dashes up to her room and then dashes back down the stairs with a history book. Her mother is curious as Sakura flips through the pages for a short while before finding what she's looking for. After showing her mother the book, she said, okay, Mom, I have a question for you. Who is that man? The Yondaime. Everyone knows that. Why? Her mother Sarah remarked. Sakura takes out a marker, briefly sketches on the image, and then says, now who's that? For a moment, Sarah closed her eyes and uttered, that dear is it can't be. Sakura steps back and replied, Makes sense if you think about it. Mom, would he ask some other family to give up their child instead of his own to save the village he cares for? Sarah is too shocked to comment as she considers a plausible explanation. Sakura said, I did some checking, Mom, and if what I found and think is right, Naruto is the son of Minato Namikaze the Yondaime, and Kushina Uzumaki, a woman from Whirlpool Country who I heard some old woman talking one day was the Yondaime's secret lover, but she died giving birth. Truth is, I believe she was his wife but never told anyone but their closest friends. Now since the Yondaime had so many enemies, any children he had would have to have their name changed for their protection. Now if you add all that up and think about it, I think this village is full of idiots. Are you one, Mom? Sakura said with a smirk that would make any Hyuga or Uchiha proud. Sarah sat down on the couch to consider everything and said, Mom, I know you're worried about me and you want to protect me, but you got to let me go sometime. I do care for Naruto. I am not saying it is love or not, since I had that damn stupid crush on Sasuke, but Naruto has been a very sweet boy to me every time I am around him, though I was too stupid to see it because of Sasuke. I am taking my time trying to get to know him, and since he is my teammate, I thought if we got stronger together we might make even better teammates, or it might go somewhere else later. I have plans for myself before I will start a family and make you a grandmother, so don't worry about that, but I have a lot of work to do before I get there. I am the brains and Naruto is the muscle. If you want to say it, he's stronger than I am, but I am smarter than he is, so it works out for us both, and if we work together his strength will rub off on me and my brains on him. With a fresh perspective, Sarah asked her daughter, when did you get so mature? Sakura looked sorrowful and thought, when I saw the man I love killed by the man I thought I loved. She continued, when I decided to quit being a lovesick puppy and take my life into my own hands, I seen something the other day in the mirror I did not like, and I started to do some soul searching. After I faced some scary truths about myself, I feel that what I am doing now is the right choice. In an attempt to embarrass Sakura, Sarah nods and says, if you want to invite Naruto over sometime, I would like to get to know him better in case he becomes my son-in-law someday. Sakura responded to the game by saying, I will invite him over sometime, and perhaps someday he might, but not today. When they realized they were both nailed, they both started laughing. Sakura, however, was unaware of how that one incident would alter her life and the lives of several others forever. Naruto sneezes once more in his apartment and asks himself, who could be talking about me? Something was happening inside Naruto. In front of Kyuubi's cage, there was a ball of energy that said, yo, wake the fuck up. After groaning and growling, Kyuubi turned to face her cage, saw the ball of energy, and asked, what are you? I'm you, dipshit, from the future, the ball said. Look, I don't know how long this message link will last. Open your mouth and eat this energy. A small gift is also in this ball. It contains all of my memories and makes it possible for us to merge when the time comes. Why should I trust you? Kyuubi growled. Easy, the ball said, that is the only way we will both be able to have a body again. Alright, Kyuubi said. I knew this kind of thing would occur. Kyuubi's eyes fluttered for a moment before she smiled and said, this is going to be fun. Here. Kyuubi opened its mouth, and the ball of energy flew inside it. When she closed it, she heard the cries, Sasuke-kun, save me. When Naruto got ready the following morning, he noticed that his clothes were a little tighter, but he ignored it, went to urinate, and screamed as puberty hit him like a race car on nitro. After emerging from shock, Naruto spent a few moments getting ready before heading to the training ground. Sakura had told him about. He heard conversation coming from the path behind him, so he turned to see Sakura and another girl walking together. The girl asked, so is this Naruto? Sakura acknowledged. Tenten, I was telling you about this teammate of mine. All three of them flinched when someone yelled, the flames of youth burn brightly today. They turned to see a group of guys wearing green spandex dash into the field. Don't stare at their eyebrows, Sakura said, it's offensive, Foxy. When the two spandex heads approached, Naruto listened to her since he knew she was speaking to him and didn't want to annoy her. Ah, the flames of youth burn in you both, the taller of the two said. How may I help you today? Sensei, Tenten said before they have to meet their sensei. These two wanted to know if they could join us for our morning workout program. You know him, I think, Kakashi. Guy said, neither of you have passed his test yet. After glancing at Sakura and Naruto, I can't do anything until you do, even if you still have the embers of youth burning within you. But what if we do? Sakura asked. If I am correct, we will pass his test, which I believe I already know what it will be. Tell you what, Guy said, glancing at her, you can come here tomorrow and spar with two of my students. If you pass his test, I'll agree to help you with your training if you can show me that you're a bright young person, but I won't ignore my own students. That's all we ask, Sakura said. Both of us are already training with weights and chakras. Lee asked, what is your name, Lovely Blossom? As Guy appeared surprised. Sakura grabbed Naruto's hand and said, Sakura, but I am taken. Lee looked, understood, and said, "Then I must be a rival." Sakura then shocked everyone by punching him, sending him flying into a tree 100 yards away. Sakura said, "Whatever your name is," as Lee stood up in challenges, "women do win like trophies. Be yourself and look for a single woman who shares your interests if you're looking for someone to share your youth with, not merely appear attractive." Guy remarked, "Impressive," as Tenten moved like a fish out of water with her mouth open. "If I may ask, how did you accomplish that?" Sakura sighed and remarked, "I've been studying to be a medic nin like Tsunade, and after some trial and error, I've discovered the key to her strength, or at least the majority of it. However, because I lack endurance and chakra, it only takes me 2 or 3 hits before I run out of chakra. I therefore need assistance with my endurance and Taijutsu. Since Kakashi was the only other Sharingan in the village and the Rookie of the Year, I think he will be the Uchiha's favorite. Naruto and I agreed to work on our strengths and weaknesses because we already balance each other out and improve." "So you wish to learn medic Taijutsu?" Guy asked, nodding. "No," Sakura said, "I've already witnessed enough medical training to know all of the katas, or the majority of them. In addition, medical Taijutsu is extremely restricted. I'm searching for something that will make me harder to predict. Even more predictable is the academy style, which I am also familiar with. As you are probably aware, Naruto has more stamina and chakra than the majority of the villagers, but he also has the worst form. You are the greatest Taijutsu master in the villages, but you also use the Iron Fist style. According to my research after hearing your name from Tenten yesterday, neither Naruto nor I would survive a long Taijutsu battle, as he is now essentially a brawler due to his condition, which is caused by both my low stamina and his low form. We wanted to find additional training because this is one of our weaknesses." "Tenten, you and Lee can begin warming up now," Guy said, glancing at them. "Before I make a decision, I need to ask a few more questions." They both nod as they enter their training area, where they observe their third member warming up and meditating. Upon determining that they are sufficiently distant, Guy inquires, "So you know about Naruto condition?" "Yes," Sakura replied, "I hold a minority opinion in the village." "What do you think, Naruto?" Guy asked with a smile and a nod. With a sigh, Naruto stated, "Truth is I'm terrible along with Chunin and Junin. I can outrun ABNU for several hours, but I must admit that everything I was shown in a fight made it so that I would take more damage and be easily defeated. I would be the first to leave a fight if it weren't for my stamina and endurance." Guy gave them a look and said, "I will deliver a scroll containing the kata to both of your residences so you can study and practice. If I hear you both pass, I'll have you join my team for 2 hours every Monday as long as neither team is out of town. 1 hour of sparring and 1 hour of endurance training." Along with a smile, Naruto and Sakura said, "Thank you, Guy-sensei." "Do you know any medic jutsu?" Guy asked, nodding and glancing at Sakura. "Yes," Sakura replied, "I've studied a few other things and know how to repair cuts and bones, but I haven't had any hands-on experience yet. I have a slightly easier time accessing those books than most because my mother is the head librarian." With a nod, Guy said, "In exchange for me doing this, I would like you to work with Tenten for 2 hours on Sundays on medical training and to teach her medical Taijutsu so she can help herself. I don't know why, but she worships Tsunade and won't learn any Taijutsu unless it's for medical purposes. You are not given a mission. You are to meet with her and choose a time." Nodding, Sakura said, "Yes, Guy-sensei." After giving Naruto a quick glance, Guy asked, "What kind of weights do you have, Naruto?" After seeing the number, Guy said, "If you pass, I'll also give you some additional weight to train with on top of the ones you already have." After Naruto showed him to him. "Iron Fist is not what I'm teaching you to, as far as I can tell. Sakura lacks the raw power to learn it, and she probably won't for years, if at all. Naruto, on the other hand, is also too short and lacks the necessary weapons. I'll be teaching Sakura Slave Diamond if you both pass. It's an old style designed specifically for women, utilizing their innate flexibility. Having long arms and legs is beneficial since she was a medic nin. An old friend of mine modified the original form. I believe you should be able to easily adjust to this style since you already know the kata for medic Taijutsu. I have a style in mind for you, Naruto, but I'm not sure if you'll be able to use it. It requires a lot of speed training, and you'll need to increase the speed of your kicks and punches significantly. You must reach a point where you can punch or kick 30 times in 7 seconds. If you pass the Kakashi test, I would advise you to punch and kick a log at least 500 times a day while wearing weights. Then, see how long it takes to do it without them. Once you can do it again, increase the weights to use this Taijutsu correctly. You must also be able to run 10 miles in 5 minutes. This style has only ever been used by one person, and I think you can do it too. One of the few styles that the Sharingan cannot imitate is this one. Why is speed so important for this Taijutsu? Inquired Naruto. Should punching force be given more weight? No, Guy said. As you can see, this style focuses on the body's joints rather than punching power in less than 12 seconds. The person using this technique could literally destroy every joint in an enemy, rendering them incapable of moving at all. Sakura inquired, what style is that? I never read or heard of it before. Guy nodded and continued, and you want either? Only a few people can recognize it, and I have the only copy of it outside of the Forbidden Scroll. It is called Hummingbird. I can't wait to learn it, Naruto said with a smile. Well, I will see you if you pass, then good luck. Guy grinned and turned to leave. Sakura said, come on, let's go train, after checking her watch. So are we a couple because you said you were taken when you took my hand? Asked Naruto, grinning, as he followed her. Sakura replied, perhaps for now let's just say we're friends with benefits. It might become more later, but I want to get to know the real you, not the mask you hide behind. Stunned, Naruto muttered, yes, I would like to get to know you better. Also, by the way, how did you know about my mask? Sakura stated, when I took a look at my life I noticed things I did not like about myself. One thing was my obsession with Sasuke, another was the way I treated you, trying to impress Sasuke even when you were kind to me. I decided that I wanted to get to know you better, so I did what ninja do and investigated, and that's how I learned about your friend and also why I like you. To stay strong after everything and to always try and make me happy, those are things I want in life, and why I like you. I don't know everything about you, and that's why we are going to get to know each other better and move from there. I did tell my mom, and she said she wants to meet you and invite you over for dinner. I told her I would ask you, but it will be in a few days. We got a lot to work on first. Both of them made a few stops before racing off to their team's training ground. A woman with pink hair entered the Yamanka flower shop across town as the door opened. Hello Sarah, it's surprising to see you here. How can I help you? Said the man behind the counter. Sarah beams as she says, I came to talk to you about something. Inoichi, do you think we can talk privately for about 15 minutes, just you and your wife and me? Sure, go on back while I close up, Inoichi replied, then proceeded to the door, placed a sign that read, be back shortly, and made his way to the back room that led to his front room. So what do we owe the honor, Sarah? You haven't been by in about a month since Ino and Sakura had that fight, he asked his wife, Sarah, and his wife Tara as they arrived. Sarah murmured, sorry about that, I have been busy, and you know our daughters are too hot-headed to stay mad long anyways. You know how both our daughters have graduated now from the academy and they got their team test today. Inoichi replied, yeah, Ino kept ranting about Sakura being on Sasuke team and something about a kiss, but we couldn't get what she was saying. Sarah chuckled and replied, I will tell you in a minute. I need to ask you both something. What do you think of that Naruto kid? I don't know why, Inoichi said, glancing at his wife. Sarah replied, what if I told you Sakura has done some research and found something interesting? If she's right, this village is going to owe one hell of an apology when it's revealed. To which Inoichi replied, what do you mean? After taking a book out of her bag and opening it with a bookmarker, Sarah remarked, this is part of it. Who is the picture thereof? After examining it, Inoichi and his spouse Tara remarked, the Yondaime. Why? Sarah said, now who is it? After removing a piece of clear plastic with some drawings on it and superimposing it over the image, turning Yondaime's clothing orange and adding whiskers to his face. Inoichi looked at Tara with wide eyes and said, Sakura showed this to me when I was dancing around the Third's Law, trying not to say why I was upset, but she bluntly told me she knew about it, but also that she thinks that he is the son of Minoda Namikaze and Kushina Uzumaki of Whirlpool. She said that she heard some older woman gossiping one day about Kushina being the Yondaime's mistress, and Sakura said that with the Yondaime having so many enemies, of course he never could tell he was married, and any children he had would have to have their names changed, Inoichi stated. Sarah nodded and continued, she also said the Yondaime would never ask someone else to give up their own child if he was not willing to do it himself. If Sakura is able to figure this out, if she's right, how come none of us had? Inoichi was at a loss for words, so Tara tried to get her thoughts straight by asking, so what's the big interest in him anyways? Sarah stated, Ino tried to one-up Sakura in school yesterday using the flat chest remark, and Sakura trumped her by kissing Naruto and telling her she could have Sasuke. She's on his team now. I also heard that because of it Ino had to go out with Shikamaru last night. How was that? I blasted him with ki and made him pass out, Inoichi said with a laugh. Sarah laughed as she said, I don't know what spurred Sakura to change, but whatever it was seemed to have started yesterday before school. She said she saw something in the mirror she did not like and decided to change. Personally, I think it might have been for the best, but when she floored me with this last night I did not know what to think. Inoichi returned to the image and said, The more I think about it, the more it seems true. I can see why the third is so protective of Naruto. Also, the sad thing is, if it is true that people will start looking and treating him different and nothing about him would have changed, that simple fact makes me sick to my stomach, since I might not have openly hated him, but I never actually thought of him in a good way either. I feel the same way. What do you think we should do? Sarah sighed. Tara replied, I might have an idea, but it might not work. I think he deserves a chance. Sarah stated. Inoichi inquired, can I keep that plastic? Sure. I can always make another. It was good seeing you both. I got to go and get to work at the library, Sarah said, then stood up and began to walk away. Inoichi glanced at his wife as she left and questioned, could it be true? Tara replied, yes, the more I think of it, the more I believe it. So what is your idea? Inoichi inquired. Tara responded, go get you teammates and your wives. I will go and get a few others and bring them here. Don't tell anyone who told us this or what it's about. We will say that a traveling merchant showed us and we needed to talk to them about it. Inoichi gave a nod, and he and his spouse departed in different directions. Sasuke arrived at the Team 7 training ground and saw his two teammates sitting on the ground. Naruto said, so that's why Iruka tried to teach me, Kiba, Shika, and Shoji. Sakura replied, yes, since you almost got tree climbing down, I thought that we could practice leaf balancing for now, since we need to rest for our test. When we get this down and tree climbing, we can then work on doing both at the same time for added difficulty before we move on to water walking. When we get all three done, I got a few other things I want to try. After nodding, Naruto resumes his attempt to make the leaf float, but he either blasts it off or fails to get it to move at all. After 45 minutes, everyone was in a state of shock after Inoichi and his wife had just finished telling the 8 people they had gathered. According to Shikoda, how did we miss that? I have always had a neutral opinion of him because we felt that he was like our clan. Shido, whose real name is unknown, said in reference to his father. With this new information, I think we should confront the Hokage about it. Hiashi asked, what should we do? If it is true, this could cause a civil war in the village. Shikoda replied, yes, Hiashi, we must proceed carefully. I don't think we should bring this before the council though, and I think that we should also keep who knows to a minimum. Who else knows this besides us? Inoichi. Inoichi responded, well, Sarah Haruno was here when we were confronted about it, so she knows and she is equally upset. I believe that she would tell her daughter or has by now. Hiashi murmured, I am glad I was coming to see you today, Shido, to discuss your son watching Hinata for me. My clan's at Adagian. I say we should go to the Hokage and ask him if it's true, and if it is, I say we try and start paying our respect to him. I know I cannot reveal this to my clan Bekwase. The council would try and silence me for dividing the clan on this, however we should do something for him. Inoichi looked up and said, that's the thing that hurts me the most about this whole mess. We are all looking at him different just because of who his father is. If it is true, we are truly shallow. At that moment, the Hyuga, Yamamka, Nara, Akamichi, and Abarame exchanged sorrowful glances. A puff of smoke appeared across town, and their sensei Kakashi stood in front of Team 7. He was expecting them to yell, you're late, but was taken aback when he noticed 2 teenagers balancing leaves above their hands and one brooding teen. After clearing his throat, he said, yo. You're late, Naruto said, glancing at him as Kakashi started to perspire. Sakura remarked, so tell us about this test. Kakashi responded, okay. The test is that you must get these 2 bells from me before noon or you don't get nothing to eat and you go back to the academy. It's a good thing we stopped and got ramen this morning, huh Naruto, Sakura said with a smile. Naruto replied, yeah, even if we did throw up, you never want to go into a fight low on energy. When Kakashi started to perspire once more, Sasuke remarked, losers, you should fail for not following his rules. With a smile on her face, Sakura remarked, but they were not rules. He said, if I were you I would not eat or else you will puke. He never said, don't eat. You're correct. Anyways, let's begin. Come at me with intent to kill. Ready, set, go, Kakashi said, and Sasuke ran off into the bushes, disappearing in a haze, while Sakura and Naruto remained seated. After glancing at them both, Kakashi remarked, you two are a little weird. Sakura replied, really, then I guess you don't want the present we got you then. Now let's see, Sakura said, pointing out the first edition copy of Icha Icha Paradise signed by the Arthur. It says, to my greatest fan Kakashi, signed the Toad Master Jiraiya in memory of Minota. Here's the deal, drop the bells or the exploding tag I have placed in the book will destroy this priceless heirloom. Kakashi was perplexed. In fact, Kakashi was terrified and inquired, how did you get that? Sakura replied, I had Naruto here help me with something on our way here. Rewind. Sakura caught Naruto's eye as he said, you think that we should eat, but Kakashi said not to. Sakura replied, He said if he was us he wouldn't, or else we would puke. I don't know about you, but unless he hurt us dearly I would not puke, and I doubt your friend would let you also. Let's eat, but first I got an idea that will help us get an advantage. Come on. I need the prankmaster from hell to help me with this. I don't know what changed you, Sakura, but I could kiss it, Naruto said, glancing at her. A woman blushed inside Sakura, and Naruto. Sakura, on the other hand, was also blushing. 10 minutes later Naruto replied, okay, let me get this straight, we blackmail our teacher into it by taking something from his home that he values. Okay, what is it we should take? Sakura responded, look for the oldest of those books he was reading yesterday. He acts like they're his children. If you find one that is very old and in good condition, it should be the one send your cage bunshin in, so that way if Kakashi there, then he can go up in smoke and he won't know, since it will be hanged into Mizuki. The thought made Naruto smile. Final flashback. According to Sakura, and that was how we did it. After glancing at her, Kakashi questioned, and why should I believe you or let you believe you can make the tag explode before I get to it? Sakura grinned and replied, because the tag is wired to the ninja wire on my wrist. If it is pulled, boom goes your book. A Naruto clone approached Kakashi as she was becoming agitated and extended its hand. Kakashi said, fine, and gave the bell to the Naruto clone. Nice try, Kakashi, it's a fake bell. There's genjutsu on a rubber ball here, the clone remarked after examining it. After giving the clone a quick glance and letting out a sigh, Kakashi handed over another set of bells from his pocket. After giving them a quick glance, the clone said, Sasuke, come here and get your bell. Sasuke leapt to his feet, went to the Naruto clone, and took the bell. The clone then went to Sakura and gave her the other bell. Suddenly, the clone, Sakura, and Naruto all vanished into smoke, with Sakura appearing where the clone was and Naruto where Sakura was. Sakura stated, your test was teamwork. You wanted to defeat us to make us work against each other. Naruto and I realized that the only way Sasuke would work with us if he thought he won. We also needed to distract you and make you believe we would fail to realize the true meaning of the test, so we kept him from knowing. Naruto used his cage bunshin and hanged himself into me after we worked on the leaf balancing practice, so that way with both displaying different control you would not suspect I hanged into him, since you would know that he could use cage bunshin and try to trick us with a genjutsu, since Naruto suck at detecting them, but I can detect them and repel them. So what do you think, Kakashi? We pass. Naruto stated, those who follow the rules always should not be ninja, because ninja have to sometimes not follow the rules right. Can I have my book back? Kakashi asked, grinning behind his mask. Kakashi was wide-eyed when Naruto threw the book, but he caught it and held it until it exploded. A few seconds later, he opened his eyes and looked down at his book, where he saw a piece of paper that he believed to be the tag protruding. After taking it out and reading it, he chuckled and declared, you pass. What's so funny? Sasuke inquired as he examined a coupon for half off any book at the bookstore where he purchases Icha Paradise. Kakashi remarked, oh, it's nothing, just the team present that you all gave me. With a grunt, Sasuke uttered, whatever. Kakashi looked up and said, I want to tell you all something. You're right. Those who follow the rules are trash, but those who abandon their friends are worse than trash. I must admit that I was not happy with you not letting Sasuke in on your plan, but you made him a part of the team without him knowing he was doing his part. Tell me who came up with the plan. Naruto sighed and replied, it was a joint planning. I came up with the main parts after we got the book, and Sakura smoothed the rest of the plan down with pointing out my mistakes. How did you know to use my book and where I lived? Inquired Kakashi. Sakura replied, you treated it like a baby yesterday at introduction, and my mom works at the library and every Konoha citizen and ninja is listed there with their address, so I just looked there. Tomorrow Team 7 begins missions. Meet here at 9 AM. Kakashi said with a smile before disappearing in a cloud of smoke. You already failed them that fast, the third person said. It's only been 20 minutes since you normally start your test, as he entered the Hokage office. Sighing, Kakashi remarked, actually, they passed already. Did you fail them already, or are you going for a record on being late? Asuma asked as the door opened and Kurenai and Asuma entered. They both glanced at the clock before turning to face Kakashi and back to the clock. Kakashi murmured, no, they already passed. The prankmaster from hell got the bookworm from hell and have teamed up. Those two figured out my test. 8. Figured out a plan to trap me in my own test and used their teammate who they knew would not help them after they broke into my home and found something to ransom me into it, and they even outthought me when I tried to trick them with a genjutsu. It would have failed if I used my Sharingan, but they forced it on me before I could use it. Everybody was perspiring, and Kurenai asked, how? Kakashi then went on to describe everything in detail, and by the end, Kurenai was laughing uncontrollably and Asuma was grinning. Ayame looked at them, grinned, and said, so you were both back already. How did your test go? After Naruto and Sakura asked Sasuke if he wanted to go eat with them, they then went to the ramen. As Sakura grinned, Naruto remarked, "We passed." Ayame replied, "That's good, I am glad that you both came here to eat." Sakura replied, "I may not like ramen as much as Naruto here, but I can eat it every now and then since I am going to spend more time here with him after practices and stuff. Can I request an item or two to be added to your menu?" "For our number one customer, sure, but we might have to charge a little more at first until we get more customers, is that alright?" Ayame asked her father, who looked at her. Sakura replied, "Yes." "Well," Ayame inquired, "what would you like then to be added?" Sakura replied, "Well, I have 3 choices I like to eat and any of those 3 would work: salad with some of the toppings you add to the ramen, tea to drink, and lastly sweet rice with toppings from the ramen." Ayame glanced at her dad and he replied, "Those are not that bad of an idea. The salad won't be too hard as all I would really have to do is get lettuce since carrots, tomatoes and the meats are already here for the ramen, and the tea would not be bad as an extra drink besides soda, sake, and water, and the sweet rice could work as well since all I would need is to use another burner, and I could always make rice cakes for the next day to maybe bring in some children also. I will try and get those." Sakura. "I will have 3 miso," Naruto said with a smile. "No you won't, boy, I need to speak to you and her for a moment privately," a man in his late 40s with black hair and yellow eyes said as he entered the stand. Naruto and Sakura turned to face the man. Ina replied, "Whatever you do, Sakura, listen to this man and don't upset him." Sakura asked herself, "Why?" Ina replied, "That's my father, if you upset him he will kill you and Naruto. Just get Naruto to go with him." "Naruto, we need to go with him, trust me," Sakura said, terrified. "Wait, what gives?" said Ayame in a neutral tone. Sakura interrupted her, saying, "Ayame, forgive me for being rude, but I don't think we have a choice." Sakura's fear of this man was evident to Ayame. In actuality, both she and her father could sense the power emanating from the man. After glancing at Ayame and her father, the man took out some cash and placed it on the counter. When Ayame saw that it was $500, he said angrily, "That is for delaying your business 1 hour is all I need to talk to them." Naruto opened his mouth to say something, but Sakura shoved him in the ribs. He turned to face her, but she shook her head, and he could tell by the expression in her eyes that something was amiss. "All right, let's go," he said. After the man touched Sakura and Naruto, a whirlpool of flames engulfed the 3 of them, and Ayame questioned, "Who was he?" Her father stated, "I don't know, but something's going on. If they are not back in an hour I am going to the Hokage." I did not recognize him, but whoever he is was very strong. Only Ayame could concur. "Well, this is unexpected. To what do I owe the honor of all of your visit?" said the third, looking up from his paperwork as he and the other members of the group who had gathered at his house entered the Hokage's office with Sarah about 20 minutes later. She stated, "A visitor to this village has brought something to our attention and we would like to discuss it with you. It concerns Naruto." Having a negative feeling about this, the third sighed and asked, "What is it?" "I see, so you're wondering if he is his son. The truth is," Inoichi handed the third the book he had previously used. The third opened it to find the bookmark and a picture of the third. Inoichi then laid the piece of plastic over the picture, and the third sighed. Both of his office doors were blown off the hinges as Sakura and a third girl, who resembled Sakura but was slightly taller and had long red hair, were flung through them, along with Naruto's orange jacket and shirtless bodies. A man entered and stepped over the door, and the 2 ABNU who were on the ground passed out. He looked at everyone in the room and said, in a venomous voice, "Which one of you is the leader of this pathetic village?" The 3 figures rolled across the floor like rag dolls and landed in a pile together, looking like they had been severely beaten. "I am the Sandiami Hokage of," declared the third as he rose to his feet. "I don't care about your speech, a simple I am would suffice. I am Lord Trident and I have come here to take care of a small debt as well as some unfinished business. Don't worry, the Yondaimi's son and his wife and vassal are fine. I just disciplined them for disappointing authority," he said, interrupting the third as a kunai lodged itself in the desk in front of him. The third said, "What?" but was interrupted when the man threw enough ki at everyone in the room to make them feel like fainting. A number of the women were on their knees, struggling to breathe. "I am more powerful than you." The girl there is now the boy's vassal. She is still a pathetic weak girl. Even after all these years she is no longer my daughter. She is bound to the boy forever now, he said. "I have the power to do as I damn well please. You will address me with respect or I will destroy this village, and I should warn you." He then walked over and kicked the red-haired girl, sending her into the bookcase with the force of the kick. Although his actions horrified everyone, the man's behavior prevented any of them from moving. Before leaving the office, he turned to face the third, pulled out a scroll, tossed it to him, and said, Since I don't want to spend any more time in this pathetic village, I shall take my leave. Know this, the boy has the right to do as he damn well pleases with my daughter. If he wants, he can slit her throat and you can't touch him. The girl has a parting gift. She interrogated me by saying he should have the right to choose who he is married and challenged my opinion. Good day. Everyone went to check on the 3 teenagers after he left, and they were fine despite having serious injuries all over their bodies. The third instructs a chunin to accompany his personal physician to the office. Inoichi and Hiyashi put her daughter down comfortably while Sarah was crying, and they did the same for Naruto. However, they were scared to move the other girl, so Sarah questioned, what was that all about? Hiyashi activated his bloodline and stated, the girl's got a few broke ribs but she's healing fast. If I did not know better I would swear she had Naruto healing ability. His wounds are also healing, but he took a trauma to the head and has a broke arm. Sakura looks like she just has some bruising and a few cuts, as it looks like she did not get any damage from him. Everyone looks at the third as he nods, approaches, picks up the scroll, begins to read, and exclaims, my god. What is it, Lord Hokage? Shido asks after going through some hand seals. The third asked, what is it you need, old friend? As Emma appeared. When the third handed him the scroll, Emma said, I see that Lord Trident was present. If he said that the girl was now his vassal, he meant that he has hundreds of years of sealing experience and can create a seal that, if tampered with, will kill not only the person who tampered with it but also the object it was sealed on. How strong is he? Inquired the third. Actually, truth is, Emma said with a sigh, he has a lot of power. I would advise against treating him disrespectfully. The man was reduced to a pile of blood the last time someone did it. He departs in a cloud of smoke after saying, I have to go and inform the summon world that he has returned. So, is it true? Hiyashi inquired. He is the son of Minota. The adults all flinched when the third sighed and said, yes. After a brief period of silence, the doctor returned with the chunin and began tending to everyone's wounds. As he worked on them, the adults all fell silent. Pardon me, Hokage-sama, but I believe you should be aware that the red-haired girl has the Yondaime's seal on her stomach, and the pink-haired girl has a seal on her neck, but they are also different. He said the redhead has the same thing, but Naruto's healing factor is still functioning well. Fortunately, the pink-haired girl only sustained minor cuts and bruises compared to the other two. All right, said the third, nodding. Anton, I hope you won't mention or write about this anywhere. With a nod, the doctor said, just for the file you keep in your safe. The doctor departs after the third nods, and the third approaches the Shodaime's picture and directs chakra into it, repairing all of the room's damage, including the doors. Following its restoration, the third person remarked, whatever you have seen or heard here today does not leave this room. As he rubbed his head, Naruto moaned and stood up, saying, damn, did my birthday come or something? The adults flinched once more, feeling even worse because he believed it was his birthday after such a beating. No, the third said, could you tell me your memories prior to waking up here? After giving it some thought, Naruto remarked, I recall that Sakuraken and I were having lunch at the ramen stand when I had just placed my order when this guy entered, said that I didn't have time to eat it, and placed some cash on the table. Sakuraken interrupted Ayame before she could say anything else, and when I opened my mouth to speak, she struck me in the ribs to silence me. For some reason, she appeared afraid, but the truth is that I was also unnerved by the guy's attitude. Even my stomach felt strange after he announced that Sakura would be joining him. The three of us showed up on a training field. Before I knew it, my shirt and jacket were in ruins on the floor. After placing his hand on my stomach and speaking in a language I didn't understand, he became enraged and declared that I was to marry his daughter and that I was to make sure to discipline her if she disobeyed. Sakura-chan went to hit her after saying he could not make me marry someone I didn't want to, but I moved and took the blow, feeling as though my ribs were broken and my breathing was difficult. Sakuraken hit the man with her insane strength, but he immediately stood up and said that his daughter would be my personal vassal and that Sakuraken could be my wife if she felt that strongly about it. A red-headed girl appeared as the last thing I remember before I passed out after he went through some hand signs and struck me in the stomach once more. While still lying on the ground, Sakura, who had opened her eyes upon hearing Naruto speak, said, after you passed out, and the girl appeared in a puff of smoke, as the third nods. I'm not sure how she got there, but the girl made an effort to speak with the man and beg him to stop hurting her and me. He began beating her. After calling her weak, he mentioned that he wanted to make sure she wouldn't break free. I tried to stop him from beating her some more, but he knocked me into a tree. I struggled to stay awake for a short while, but after he struck her in the stomach with some glowing fingers, he approached me and placed something on my neck, which caused me to faint. The girl who was holding her ribs as she struggled to breathe was greeted by a groan and some coughing, and she uttered the words, "Sadistic bastard." As the third approached, he inquired, "Who are you?" The child replied, "My name is Trista, and that sadistic bastard was unfortunately my father." Why was he here and why are you here? Inquired the third. I am not really here, the girl said, not anymore. Anyway, this body is merely a summoning and a bunshin combined despite his sadistic tendencies. My father is skilled in creating seals, fortunately for me. My father took the fox out of the Kyubi cage, but I am still trapped inside. When the third coughed to get everyone's attention, he said, perhaps you would explain that a little more. At this point, everyone was wide-eyed and thought the man was crazy for speaking earlier. Yes, Trista said, would you mind if I sat down in a chair instead of on the floor? Even though this body isn't as real as yours, it still experiences pleasure and pain. The third nods and assists the girl in standing up, and she settles into a chair. Naruto approaches and stands beside Sakura, who has taken a seat on the couch, while her mother holds her and gazes at the girl in the center of the room. My name is Trista, Trista said. My last name isn't mine. Trident is the name of my father. I have no idea how long ago I was born. My father finally decided to punish me when I was 14 years old because he felt I wasn't strong enough. He claimed that because I was born without his ancestry, I was a failure. He has always detested me for it, but it was the final straw when I refused to kill a man he had ordered me to. I am aware that he lost his temper, attacked me, and put me in a coma. I'm not sure how he did it, but he transformed me into who I am today by removing my spirit and soul from my body. Occasionally, he would drag me out and subject me to torture. According to my father, I am nothing more than a disgrace until I understand what it means to be strong and to kill without regret. After he took me out this final time, he told me that I was now the property of the boy. I'm not sure why, but he's always been that way. As everyone gasped, Naruto questioned, so you're sealed in me and not the fox? Yes and no, Trista said. I informed you that even though Dad removed the fox from the seal, you still possess the fox's chakra. What proof do we have that you're not the fox? Inquired Inoichi. With a sigh, Trista said, verify my chakra network. You'll notice that I only have a normal chakra and that my strength is probably comparable to that of a civilian or even an academically trained student. She's telling the truth, Hiashi said. Activating his bloodline, she is unable to shape chakra because, like most adults, her network has shriveled up. An academy student could kill her if she were the fox, in my opinion. Trista remarked, I don't know much about what's happening, but I do know that I'm sealed there. If my father stated that I'm in the seal on his stomach. He explained that there would be a time limit because I would be drawn back in each time the seal reset and that I would only be allowed to leave when the boy decided to do so. Although I'm not very knowledgeable about this, I am aware that my father changed his seal by adding a small groove above the original seal, and he claimed that this was how I would be dragged out to serve my master. As they listened, everyone turned pale, and the third person said, do you know what the seal on Sakura neck is? Yes, Trista said. I can demonstrate what it is, but it's difficult to explain. Hokage-sama, would you mind writing something on a piece of paper? Let me read it, but don't tell anyone what it is. Trista reads what the third nods and writes, and Sakura responds, Konohamaru. It's a seal so Sakura can hear my thoughts, Trista said. Referring to the wide-eyed third, my father made the decision that Sakura could hear my opinions if she wanted to buy into my business. As he put it, even if the seal contains me, it is his method of denying me privacy. It could be both ways. In my opinion, Sakura, think of something. Is that story true? Sakura asked herself. Yes and no, Trista thought. I'll explain later, but I can't reveal that I'm the fox to everyone or they'll kill Naruto or further isolate me. As everyone stared at them both, Trista replied, yes, Sakura can converse with me in her mind, but I am unable to hear what she is thinking. He seems to be only interested in violating my privacy. So what do you plan to do now? The third person asked, nodding. There's nothing I can do, Trista said. I'll be dragged back into the seal in a little while, where I'll either remain or be called out by Naruto. How do I summon you and desummon you? Inquired Naruto. There's a new addition at the top. If you look at the seal on your stomach, Trista said, you will feel my chakra leave you if you wipe some blood there, but it won't be much in regards to desummon, unless the seal needs to be reset. Either you or I must think desummon, and it will do it automatically. After giving it some thought, the third said, I want you all to keep that information private. You must have been aware of Naruto's condition because you are a composed Sakura. Yes, Sakura replied. In this village, people have lost their lips, ninjas, too. Furthermore, if you think about it, there are enough facts to make a guess. With a sigh, the third said, I must ask that you not tell anyone of your age group what you know. I won't, but I believe some of them, like Shikamaru, could figure it out, and possibly Shino. Sakura said both are more intelligent than they appear. Pointing to Trista, Naruto remarked, I apologize for disturbing everyone's thoughts, but what are we to do about her? All right, Naruto, said the third. You are stuck with Naruto, Trista, as much as I hate to say it. If what I was told is accurate and this is what's in the scroll, then you, Naruto, and anyone else who tampers with it will perish if we attempt to alter the seal in order to free you. If necessary, I think we could still cut off the fox's chakra, but I don't want to try because I can't have you go up in smoke because a summons would cause panic and I don't want to make Naruto's life any worse. You are not allowed to walk around the village without him or Sakura. You are now obligated to one another. As much as I hate to put you under this pressure. I know Hokage-sama, Trista said. I will respect Naruto's wishes regarding me because, as my father stated, I am now his vassal and, according to the laws of both my clan and my father, I must abide by them out of fear that, should he return, he would simply kill me or possibly place me with someone else. I am aware that I cannot be released because, as I have no physical body, I will perish if I or anyone else tries to remove me from the seal other than by summoning. In addition, I think Naruto is a decent person, so I don't mind being obligated to him. My family's women were always instructed to submit to their husbands or masters, so I am aware of my responsibilities since my father probably put me in the seal to make me feel angry and hateful for some reason. It would probably be best if I stayed there unless it was a day when I could go out with both Sakura and Naruto. That way, if he ever decided to release me, which I doubt, I would be prepared to show that I am strong and kill. I don't like the way this sounds, Naruto remarked, lowering his gaze. It gives me the impression that you are my slave. In essence, she is, Hiashi stated regretfully. She is your servant according to the laws of the Fire Country as a whole as well as those of her clan. Unless you specifically instructed her to act differently, she must also act as one when she is in public since you will be punished for her actions. You are also accountable for her punishment if she does something wrong. It makes me sad, but the arrangement is essentially the same as that of the Hyuga's branch family. Is there anything we can do for her? Inquired Sakura. No, replied the third ironically, she is doomed. Only Naruto's cares about what happens to her as long as Naruto is engaged in ninja activities, such as team training, missions, and other activities. She will have to remain in the seal. I don't want anyone to know her true location since your mother here only knows the truth in those 2 locations. She cannot be summoned unless she is in Naruto's or your home, Sakura. She must not be desummoned until she returns to either of those locations until you determine how frequently the seal resets to draw her in. Try not to call upon her and allow her to leave your positions. Naruto will have to make decisions for her, but since you can hear her, I want you to assist her with any personal needs. Sakura may have it as your joint responsibility to ensure she doesn't disclose any classified information to others. I apologize, miss, for what it's worth. Since we have not been introduced, I am Naruto Uzumaki, Naruto said, glancing at Trista. Trista, and your name is Sakura, Trista said with a smile. Yes, Sakura replied. I'm afraid you will have to desummon before you can leave in case it's time for the seal to reset, the third said after clearing his throat. Trista nods, disappears for a moment, and then resurfaces in the seal, covered in smoke. Can you hear me, Naruto? She inquired. Everyone turned to stare at Naruto as he blinked and said, Whoa, I can hear you. Trista replied, I can see and hear what you hear. Naruto, try and think your answers to talk to me. Can you hear me now? Naruto asked himself. Yes, Trista replied, thinking. Can you hear me, Sakura? Yes, Sakura thought. You will explain all of this later. Deal, Trista thought. What's wrong, Naruto? The third person asked. Naruto replied, Trista, I can hear her in my head and she said she can see and hear what I hear inside the seal. I can also talk to her without speaking out loud. The third responds with a nod. Well, don't speak out in public or people might think you were talking to the Kyubi. I got someone I am thinking of who knows more about the seal than I do. He will be able to tell us more, but he is out of the village on a long-term mission. All of you must remain quiet about what has happened today. If anyone finds out anything, you will direct all questions to me. Is that understood? Sakura said, Mom, if it's okay with you, what are you doing here anyway? I thought you had to work today? Everyone shook their heads. Well, Sakura, it's, said Sarah. The third individual replied. Your mother and the others here were asking me about Naruto parents. Gazing around with hope in his eyes, Naruto blinked and said, You mean you know who my parents are? Yes, but I'm afraid I can't tell you yet, the third said, glancing at Naruto. Until you turn 16 or made chunin. Your father asked me to keep that information from you. Asshole, Sakura thought as an idea struck her. She grinned and said, Pardon me for asking this, Hokage-sama, I don't mean to sound impolite or anything, but what would happen if you passed away before either of those things occurred? Given everything Naruto has been through, I know I would be desperate to know the truth if it were me. Is there a backup plan? Actually, Hokage-sama, I have a suggestion to that if you don't mind listening, Hiashi said after the third person gave her a look.
So that's it for today. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe to the channel for more awesome stories like this. Thank you. See you all in my next video.